The Cherry Creek Sports Network, in association with the Colorado High School Activities Association, is proud to bring you Cherry Creek football on CCSN. It's week 5 here in Greenwood Village, Colorado, as the Cherry Creek Bruins gear up to take on the REGIS JESUIT Raiders. And we are about ready for kickoff here from inside the broadcast booth. I am William McDavid alongside Reagan Knabe. And Reagan, I'm excited for this game.
Yeah, I am too. Well, we definitely love to see when Cherry Creek takes on REGIS. It is the biggest rivalry game that we should have all season. I would say probably second biggest rivalry is when we'll take on Grandview last week of the regular season. But this game, for whatever reason, always seems to get the fans going. REGIS definitely has a good student section here tonight, and so does Creek. It's not as big as the last couple games have been, seeing that it is on a Thursday, but there's definitely a good showing out here tonight.
And that first opening kickoff will sail into the end zone for the touchback, and the Bruins will get their first possession starting on the 20-yard line. And Reagan, as you mentioned, this is a big rivalry here. Last year when these two teams faced off, I know that there was a lot of drama around the game, and I'm excited for this game because honestly, these are two very good teams. They both had great showings so far this season, and I'm looking forward to it.
I think one thing for sure is you never really know what you're going to get when Creek and REGIS play each other, so we'll see what happens tonight.
And junior quarterback Aurelio Marchiol will get the start here for the Bruins for his third game in the row. Bubba Tan breaking down the sideline, and he will get pushed out of bounds just before the 40-yard line. And Bubba Tan was quite the impact player. He is averaging 112.8 yards per game, Reagan, and it is a spectacle to behold watching him run. He's working in tandem right now with Jordan Huron, who is averaging an impressive 8.6 yards per carry, and these two running backs are amazing.
It's definitely nice to see how fluidly they switch out. Bubba's taking about 2/3 of the snaps, with Jordan taking the remaining 1/3, and they do seem to be working together in tandem very well.
And it will be first down and 10 from the 37-yard line. Marchiol will be in the shotgun. He's going to take this and hand it off to Tan up the middle. Bubba Tan able to break out to the right side. He's going to break one tackle and get across the 50 to about the 46 or 7-yard line. And Reagan, one of the things we had mentioned last week, and I know there were a lot of people who were skeptical about this, but the crowd tonight is definitely not as big as it was last week in the homecoming game against Arvada West.
Yeah, one thing that, if we did not have audio at the beginning of the pregame show, which we apologize for, one thing we heard from our sideline reporter, Ella Davis, is that there is a shortage of refs right now, which is why this game is on a Thursday night.
Yeah, and that definitely impacts the crowd. Tan will get the handoff on this new first down attempt, and he will get a gain of about 4 on the play. And clearly Coach Logan is wanting to start out in the run game, which I can appreciate. And we've definitely seen a bit of a quarterback shuffle this season. We started the season with senior quarterback Brian Rudden at quarterback, and during the Ohio game, they put in Mark Eel, and he's started ever since, and he's done a fantastic job. And I'll be curious to see if Coach Logan decides to use him as much tonight as he tried last week.
One thing we did see last week was, because it was such a high-scoring game, Mark Eel did play for most of the game until that scoring deficit just got so huge. And then we did see one thing that Logan always seems to do is put in those backup quarterbacks, and even third-string quarterback Brady Vidika, we have seen from him in a couple games here now, and he is looking pretty good as well.
And Mark Eel will take the third down snap. He's going to hand it off to Tan once again, and Tan is going to be able to push forward for the first down. And Reagan, we have seen nothing but runs so far, and that is powered by that huge and powerful Cherry Creek offensive line. They have done a fantastic job this season plowing the way for their running backs.
One thing we saw with last week's game against Arvada West is that I believe every single first down in the first quarter and possibly even the second quarter did come off of a rushing play. So I'm not surprised at all that we're seeing this here, and I think I'll be more surprised when I see that first pass come out of Mark Eel's hands.
And a new set of downs for this Bruins offense. Mark Eel will take this under center. And once again, he's going to play action, and he's looking deep. He's going to fire one deep to Ishmael Sissy. Sissy's not able to get the catch as it was broken up on the play by number 17, DeAndre Barnes.
Well, there's that pass, Will. I maybe spoke a little bit too soon.
You know, Reagan, what I can appreciate about that play call is they've run the ball so many times. They went with a play action on that one, and as you heard at the beginning of my talking about that play, they kind of faked me out too, and I think that was their goal. You know, we're going to run it a bunch and then go with a play action, and they were hoping to find that deep ball. I saw Cooper Pollard down here on this near sideline. Neither receiver was quite open, but I could appreciate the deep shots. And they will hand it off once more to Tan. Tan breaking up the middle, and he is maybe going to break another tackle. He will get to about the 20-yard line, and Bubba Tan electric so far tonight.
One thing you were saying with that passing game, one of our keys to the game tonight here is offensive unpredictability. Logan always does seem to have a few tricks up his sleeve, but in the past few games, we have pretty much just been running the ball, so I am wanting to see some more passes from Mark Eel, maybe some more interesting play designs here.
And I agree, Reagan, and you always know that Coach Logan has something good up his sleeve when it comes to trick plays, so that'd be fun. Mark Eel will fire one out to the right side. It looks like there was a little bit of a miscommunication between Mark Eel and Mock on that far sideline. I don't know if Mark Eel was just trying to get that out because of the pressure or what, but definitely something that he's done a good job with so far is just handling that pressure, especially with some of these big linemen.
I do like to see in a quarterback that they aren't afraid to try and make those passes, even if it doesn't work out, or if there's an interception like we have seen before, just continuing to have a short memory and just keep trying those plays.
And Tan will get the handoff. He is going to plow over one defender, but will be lifted off his feet for about a gain of 4 or 5 on the play, and that will bring up, it looks like, third down, and they're going to give him 6 yards to go.
One thing, I don't know if you saw it on that play, Tan does have such an uncanny ability to stay on his feet. The defensive players for Regis had to literally hook their arms under his thighs and pick him up off the ground to get him to stop running.
They've been watching their film, Reagan. They know that's the only way to stop him. So on this big third down conversion, Mark Eel will take the snap, and he's going to hand it off to Tan. Tan swallowed up the second he got the ball. That was number 11, Hayden Moore, on the tackle. And looks like Coach Logan, as always, is going to be going for this fourth down conversion. And it will now be 4th and 7, it looks like, for this Bruins offense. And Reagan, one thing that we've seen in the past is Coach Logan doesn't like to kick field goals anyways, and this year, especially with Thomas Gegline, the kicker, being injured, after the Ohio game. He really isn't interested in kicking field goals. Markiel is going to drop back. He's going to fire one out to Sissy on the right side, and that'll be enough for a first down.
I love it when CC gets the ball in his hand because he really is such a dynamic player out there, and I would like to see him have some more receptions because he really is such a weapon out there. Yeah,
definitely, and you see just the trust that not only Coach Logan but Markiel has in Ish, and they know, okay, big fourth down play, who are we going to go to? And he's the one, and I can understand why. He makes a lot of big plays. So it will be first down and goal from the 7-yard line. Markiel will be in the shotgun. Bubba Tan still in the game. They are going to hand it off to him up the middle, and Tan will break through for the touchdown. And the Bruins strike first just about 5 minutes in to this first quarter, and really an impressive drive, Reagan. They slowly, methodically drove down the field. You don't see that a whole lot from the Bruins where they take it chunk by chunk, but they were able to do it on that play. And now Ben Starr will come out for the PAT. Low snap. Starr tries to get that one up. It looks like it will still go. And I would like to point out how impressive that was from both the holder, Brian Rudden, and Ben Starr. He saw that there was some pressure coming, and he was able to get under that ball and get it up over the defender's hands. And Reagan, I don't quite know how that one went in, but it did. So the Bruins will take a 7-0 lead with 7:03 remaining in the first quarter.
And as we're about to see Regis's offense take the field for the first time tonight, Regis did have a bit of a shakeup with its head coaching coming into this season. Their head coach, Mark Nolan, announced in late March that he would be leaving the Raiders to join Notre Dame, which is certainly impressive. He was replaced by Danny Philemon, formerly of Peoria Liberty in Peoria, Arizona. He was the head coach when they beat Valor Christian last week. It took a month for the Raiders to replace Nolan, saying that his proven ability to build a program based on Christian values and beliefs will continue our tradition of giving student athletes a strong base in their faith and how they can apply it to excel in athletics, academics, and life.
And Reagan, I think that that's one of the things that Creek has been fortunate enough with, is that they have had Coach Logan as kind of a stable coach for these last, I believe it's 9-10 years maybe, and you definitely have been able to tell that. The Raiders will have a nice little return there and get out to about the 30-yard line, and now we will get to see this Bruins defense come out. And Reagan, one of the things that we had talked about was that the Bruins defense last week was just incredible.
Yeah, we saw 3 defensive touchdowns from the Bruins just in the second quarter of last week's win over Arvada West. One at the hands of Chase Brackney, which we believe was a fumble in the end zone that he then recovered. And then 2 pick sixes by Logan Brantley. He certainly was a star of last week's game. We love seeing Logan get those ball in his hands and get those defensive touchdowns. We'll see if he comes away with any of those big plays tonight.
And there is a Regis player down on the field. He is being attended to by the training staff. And Reagan, this was something that we saw last week in the Arvada West game. Couple injuries that you just hate to see, but it looks like they are able to get this player up and off the field. And, Reagan, we hate to see injuries, but it's part of the sport, and you just hope that nothing plagues anyone for too long. And with that, we are going to go back onto the field where it is first down and 10 for the Raiders at the 30-yard line. And McCullough will come in motion. That handoff will go to number 20, Anthony Medina, and nice play there for the Bruins as they swarmed Medina and were able to bring him down. No gain on the play. And starting for the Raiders is senior Xander Carroll at the quarterback position, and that's one of the things that we're seeing a lot now is seniors at quarterback, and it's just having that experience is valuable. We're going to see him go with the option out to McCullough on the far side, and tackle will be made by Aiden Knapke at the 45-yard line, and that was a nice little play there, Reagan.
Yeah, that's definitely a quick start right off the bat for Regis's offense. The defense, I think, is going to be challenged in this game the most that they have been so far this season. So I am interested to see how they adapt to this and how they're able to respond to this adversity.
And Carroll will fire it out to his tight end. That was number 87, Andrew Metzger. That will fall incomplete. And Reagan, that was awfully close to being an interception. It happened kind of quickly, but we've seen the athleticism of this Creek defense, and I wouldn't have been surprised if they had pulled off the interception there. And it'll be 2nd down and 10, 3 receivers out to the right for the Raiders. Carroll's going to hand this one off to Chase, and he will be swarmed by Easy Rice, and that will be, looks like a loss of about 2 on the play.
One thing we always say about Easy is you can see him down there, number 32 on your screen, is that he always seems to be running at 110%. I don't know how he does it. He never seems to be tired. He's always pumped up, always excited, ready to go. He seems to have established himself as a leader on the field, kind of gets people excited and to rally behind him and make those plays.
And Carroll is going to look to run this ball, and he's going to get hit by a couple Creek defenders, but will get about a gain of 4 or 5 on the play. But that will bring up 4th down, and the Raiders are going to be sending on their punting unit.
Okay, well, it is time for our Twitter question of the night. We want to know everyone's best dad joke. So you can tweet us at Cherry Creek SN and tell us your best dad joke. We'll read out the funny ones on air, so make it good.
And we had some good responses for last week, which was, where were you when you found out Russell Wilson signed with the Broncos? So looking forward to our responses this week. Knapke will be back, and he will take the fair catch at the 15-yard line. Nice punt there for Martin, and we will get to see the Bruins offense take the field once more. And, one of the things that's been interesting, Reagan, with how much the Bruins have been winning so many of these games is that they really haven't gotten a chance to have their starters play for the whole game except in Ohio. And that's something that they faced last year as they got into playoffs, is some of these starters just don't play a whole game because when you're winning by 30 or 40, coach takes them out. And, it's definitely a tricky situation. But that pass there for Markiel will be complete to Kyer Johnston on the far sideline, gain of about 4 on the play.
Well, what you said is exactly right. Most games we do not see our starters play all the time, which does lead to some problems in the playoffs when they do need to play the whole game. And they're obviously amazing athletes, but you do start running into those endurance problems near the end of the game where people are just tired and kind of a little bit worn out. So we'll see in these playoffs, which are obviously a while away, but we'll see how the starters respond to that.
And Markiel will take this one in the shotgun. He's going to hand it off to Jordan Huron. Huron is going to get a gain of about 4 on the play and will bring the Bruins just short of the first down, as it will be 3rd down and 1. And Huron, one of his assets is just, he's very shifty, but he is speedy. And when he gets into the open field, he can get moving. And Bubba Tan is impressive because he's fast, but he just will not go down. But Jordan Huron, if he gets dancing, he can get some of those defenders to dance with him, and it's quite entertaining to watch. And Markiel's going to hand it off to Huron once more. Huron will have enough for the first down, and he's going to break out to the left side. He has one defender to beat. He's at the 30, the 20, and he will be chased out of bounds at about the 15-yard line. And nice run there for Jordan Huron. And that was a huge lift for the Bruins.
Well, you just said it. He certainly is speedy. I mean, that was incredible. Those breakaway run plays are definitely exciting to see.
And That was a huge gain here for the Bruins. We'll see Jordan Huron sub out as Bubba Tan comes in. I bet Jordan was like, Coach, I need a breather, because it definitely is. That was a far run, Reagan. But now the Bruins will be in the red zone at just about the 14-yard line. And this is where they seem to excel, Reagan. And looking forward to see what Coach Logan has called up here. And clearly he did not like what he was seeing. And he took his time out. And Reagan, that's pretty good. There's 3 minutes, 50 seconds remaining in this first quarter. I'd say that's almost a record.
It does seem to be a running joke up here when Coach Logan will take his first time out. So, yeah, I would say 3 minutes, 50 seconds left in the game. We've definitely seen, I think we've seen a few where it's within a couple minutes of the start of the game where he's already called timeout. And, I mean, I put full trust in Coach Logan. He knows exactly what he's doing. But I've definitely heard some people who are like, what is he doing taking all these early timeouts? But there's definitely a method to the madness, and whatever he's cooking up here, it has to be good.
Yes, and he has all of his starters in the game right now, and I'm sure he's thinking of something good. I would not be surprised if we saw a quick post route here from Ishmael Sissi at the bottom of your screen. We also got Cooper Pollard on that far sideline, and he's kind of in an ISO situation with that cornerback. Wouldn't be surprised to see something over to his side as well. Markio will take this in the shotgun, and he is going to fake the handoff to Tan, toss it up to Sissi, and that will be incomplete. And I like the play call. Why not throw it up to your 6'3" receiver?
Well, that is very reminiscent of, I believe, the Broncos number 14 in the home opener last weekend. We saw actually 2 plays in a row in that exact same situation. I think it was to Cortland Sutton over there in the end zone. I don't know, maybe, well, we know Dave Logan watches the Broncos because he's the radio commentator, so maybe he took something from that. And
we're seeing a similar formation. Now Sissi has the ISO, and who knows, Reagan, maybe we'll see him throw it up to him again. And this is going to be a toss outside to Jordan Huron. Huron is going to break through. Touchdown, Bruins. And it looks like there is a flag on the play. They may have gotten one of the offensive linemen for holding. And based off of the reaction of the Bruins, that's probably the call. And they will get the Bruins for the penalty, and they will be set back. So it will be second down, and looks like almost 22 on the play, and Markio will drop back. He has a little pressure going to the running back screen to Huron. Huron trying to get outside, and he will get to about the 17-yard line. And now the Bruins will be faced with a crucial third down conversion. And looks like they're going to put Tan back in the game. And Reagan, if you're Coach Logan here, are you going to try to throw it up to someone like Ishmael Sissi, or are you going to try to just hand it off to Bubba Tan and let him do his thing?
The hard questions, Will. I think we're going to see a handoff here just because Tan has been able to slip through these defenders so easily, but maybe not. Maybe not.
Empty backfield here, and it looks like they got an extra lineman in possibly. And Markio is going to drop back. He'll fire one out, and that'll be incomplete. Looks like a bit of a miscommunication there. And we saw that happen earlier between Markio and Mock, and that happened there with Markio and Sissi. And that's something you just don't see a whole lot in this well-polished program.
Yeah, something definitely seems to be off with that play in particular. You have the receiver a good 5-6 yards in front of that pass, which is obviously not how the play is supposed to work out. So there does seem to be some sort of miscommunication there for sure.
And after the missed field goal attempt, the Bruins defense will come back on, and this is where the Bruins could use a turnover here, Reagan. I think that definitely the Raiders are probably feeling pretty good about themselves after they got that stop there. So Bruins definitely looking to get a turnover here. Carroll is going to take the snap, and he will hand it off to the running back, Thermiter. And nice job there by the Bruins defense. There will be a loss of 2 on the play. And looks like we maybe have an official's timeout. I think they got Angelo Patrides for not having in a mouth guard. I saw him run over to the sideline and grab something from someone and kind of put his face up to his mouth, and that's the only thing I can think of. Sometimes the refs are sticklers about that, which you can appreciate. And the Raiders will hand it off once again, and it looks like Thermiter is going to be brought down by Brantley and Warren on this close sideline, and both of those guys had fantastic games last week. I believe that Warren had a hit that popped it into the air, and Brantley was able to catch it and score on the touchdown.
Yep, that was Logan's first pick 6 of the game, which is incredible to say his first because he had 2, which is something that we love to see. Braylon hit their receiver so hard that the ball popped out of the air. Logan was able to just pluck it right from the air and run that one in for a touchdown.
And Carroll's going to drop back on 3rd down. Flag in the air, but that will be out of bounds after the catch by McPherson. And we will check and see what that flag set is on that far sideline. And sometimes they'll get the offense for illegal formation when it's that far line judge, but we will see. And it looks like they are going to get illegal formation, but that penalty will be declined by the Bruins, bringing up 4th down and 9, and the Raiders will be punting this one away. Knapke will be not so deep to recover this, standing at just about the 45-yard line.
There does seem to be a little bit of confusion with the punt team here. Looks like they're going to get set.
And that can be expected sometimes near the beginning of the season, but, you know, we're at week 5. You don't want to see that. And Knapke will not catch that punt, and it will roll to about the 24 or 23-yard line. And, you know, those are some of the mistakes that you really don't want to make, because that gave the Raiders an extra 15 yards on that punt. But we will get to see the Bruins offense come out one more time here. We apologize because I do not believe our clock is operating as we would have wished it would. We're trying to get it figured out right now, but there is 1:25 remaining here in this first quarter, and the Bruins are looking good as they come out in kind of a unique formation here. Markiel is going to hand this one off to Tan. Tan is going to break free on the right side. Bubba Tan has one defender, and he will get kind of pulled, not quite down actually, which I don't understand how he didn't go down or out of bounds. But he will get to about the 45-yard line, and fantastic run here for Bubba Tan.
Well, what you were saying about that slightly strange formation, it ended up working out. They opened that huge running lane out there to the right. He was able to just break through that. And like you said, he refuses to go down, something which I think you want in any running back, and he certainly has it. And his ability to he just never seems to leave his feet. So
that was impressive, Reagan. I did not think that he was going to be able to stay in bounds on that one, but he did. And another kind of funky formation here as Johnson will come in motion, and they will pitch it outside to Tan. Tan doesn't have a whole lot of room to go, but he is somehow going to be able to get about a 5-yard gain. And actually, they might have given him the 6-yard gain, and that'll bring up 2nd down and 4.
At the end of this quarter, we are going to send it down to our sideline reporter, Ella Davis. I would just like to mention the commitment from her. We saw her, she plays varsity field hockey. We saw her rush right over here. So if you see her uniform, props to her for that, for rushing over here real quick. She's becoming a wonderful new part of our crew, and we'd love to have her down there. So we'll get some more information from her coming up here in just a few seconds.
And looks like that is going to bring the end of the first quarter, and the teams will go to their huddles as they try to catch their breath here. After a hard-fought first quarter, score is 7-0, and you know, that's a fun first quarter to watch, Reagan.
It definitely is. Well, we're going to send it down to Ella Davis here in just 1 second once we locate her on the camera. It is a bit dark out here tonight, hard to see, but there she is. We're going to send it down to you, Ella, right now.
Hey, guys. So we've had some super fun, exciting things going on at Creek recently. Number 14, Ishmael CC, has come up with a super fun idea recently. He has an Instagram account called MyFit Fridays where he posts fun outfits that students and teachers wear to school, and everyone gets to rate different outfits that kids wear. He does want to do something in fashion in the future, and I think that it has to do with something about where he's going to commit. I know he has a couple different California schools as well, and I think those are some schools he's interested in due to fashion. And I think that it's super fun that he came up with this idea. Everyone go check out MyFit Fridays tomorrow for Creek. Have it back to you guys.
And thanks, Ella. And it is a lot of fun to see what these guys can do. And I'd say that the Creek community is really what makes not only Creek football, but just this whole school so special. And just that's one example here from our star receiver, Ishmael Cece. But Bruins, on their first play of the drive, were able to secure the first down, so they will have a new set of downs as they are nearing the end zone. Markiel is going to drop back. He's going to fire one out to CC on the far sideline, and it looks like they are going to call him out of bounds, and it will be 2nd down and 10.
Well, what you were just saying about the Creek community, I mean, that cannot be more true. Although we do seem to win a lot here at Creek, win or lose, the Creek community really just comes out here, and I think anything that people come up with here, there's always someone behind and willing to support that, like Ish's Instagram account, for example. That might be something kind of out of the ordinary or different for a football player to do, but something that is very welcomed here and supported, and I think that's why we have such a great community behind us that will support and do those things.
And that run by Tan will be good for about a gain of 3 or 4 on the play. And Tan is slow to get up. He is going to get up and limp off the field. And you hope he's okay. He is a crucial member of this Bruins team and clearly in a lot of pain on that far sideline. Hopefully he can get taped up and back on this field.
Seems to be maybe a problem with his ankle, seeing how he ran off. We'll try and keep you guys updated on that as the situation progresses.
And Markiel is going to roll out to his right on 3rd down. He's going to fire one deep to Jacob Kucharski. Kucharski not quite able to haul that one in. I believe he was looking for a pass interference call. They did not give one to him. And, you know, those are always so tricky, I'd say. And one of the things that's so hard sometimes is the referee is trying to watch not only the offensive player, but also the defensive player, and that's a tough situation, Reagan. I can see it going either way in that case, and honestly, I think it's good that they gave a no call on that play.
You could see over there in the student section, they were not so happy about that. You could see them over there making motions to throw the flag, but I mean, of course, they're going to be upset about that, as anyone would.
So 4th down conversion here for the Bruins. Markiel's going to fire another one deep to Kucharski on the far sideline. Kucharski not quite able to haul that one in, and that'll be a turnover on downs. And Reagan, I got to say, that was a nice ball there for Markiel.
Yeah, well, I do think that even though we are so far not able to make those completions on the long passes, I do like to see it just for the fact that to show Regis that we're not just a running team, that we can throw the ball, put some off balance a little bit. Like we were talking about, that offensive unpredictability is so important, so then they aren't anticipating your play on every single drive. So I think that even though we aren't making those completions so far, at some point that's going to fall into someone's hands, and it's definitely good to show Regis that we have that in our back pocket.
And I can also appreciate the trust there for Coach Logan and both Kocharski and Markiel, and on a 3rd and 4th down conversion, both of which were big plays, he was willing to fire those deep, which is impressive. It looks like they are going to get a false start for the Raiders, so that'll move them back 5 yards, and they will start this possession with the 1st down and 15 from just about their own 25-yard line.
Okay, so we do have some dad jokes coming in here. We'll get you updated on those after this play.
And Carroll's going to roll out. He's going to fire one deep, and it looks like that will be completed to number 7, Dylan McCullough. On the coverage was Braylon Warren and Logan Brantley. It looks like they are going to get McCullough with an unsportsmanlike conduct, however, after the play. And Reagan, that was a nice pass there for Carroll down the field.
That was certainly a very impassive pass and a very impressive catch. He was covered by 2 Bruins on that catch. That was Dylan McCullough, and he is averaging 20.8 yards a game. That pass there should definitely bring that average up a little bit.
And we see the officials kind of discussing what they're going to call here. We saw Easy Rice in there trying to give his input, which is somewhat ironic considering he was about 50 yards down the field when the flag was thrown.
I'm not surprised. He does always seem to be wanting to go in there and try to help in any way that he can. While the officials deliberate, I am going to read one of these dad jokes on air. This is from Benjamin Paris. Why is cold water so insecure? Well, it's because it's never hot. Thank you, Ben, for that. Looks like they are going to be moving Regis back.
And Reagan, those are big penalties, and after a huge play there for the Raiders, they will get moved back, and that's always unfortunate. The Bruins defense looking to use that to their advantage as they were able to swarm Carroll on the rush, and it'll be 2nd down and 10.
Well, we were talking earlier about the crowd, and after that play, we heard reactions from both the Creek and Regis side. They definitely get very, very animated when calls like that happen down there on the field.
And they're going to hand it up the middle, and Patrides with the huge hit. That was number 20, Anthony Medina, on the run, and Reagan, that was impressive because Medina kind of got spun around, and then all of a sudden we see him launch backwards, and Patrides was right there making the big hit. I believe that before this game he was averaging 8 tackles a game, which really is incredible coming into week 5, and I believe he was leading the team in tackles, and it really is fun to watch him play football. So it will be 3rd down and just about 8 yards to go as Carroll's going to drop back. A little pressure from Rice, and Purchase able to get the sack. And Blake Purchase with his first sack of the game. It's about a 7-yard loss on the play. And Reagan, we mentioned it a couple weeks ago, but Blake Purchase committed to Oregon, and he is a special player and athlete.
That was exciting to see for sure. I think with that sack, that makes 9 on the season, I believe.
And a low punt. Knapke is going to try to field it, and he will. He will go out to the left side and will be tackled by a swarm of Raiders at about the 20-yard line. And once more, this Cherry Creek offense will take the field.
Will, while we're seeing this change here, I have another dad joke for you. My dad was offered a new job selling vegetables. He didn't take it because the annual salary was too low. That was a good one from Don Rhodes. Thank you very much for replying to our Twitter question of the game. This does seem to be a popular one so far. If you're watching and you haven't tweeted us, you can tweet us at Cherry Creek SN. Let us know your best dad joke.
And Reagan, that's funny. I'm a sucker for dad jokes. Mark Heel's going to hand this off to Huron up the middle. Huron with a nice little gain. That'll be about a gain of 6 on the play. And Reagan, going back to the dad jokes, if you tell me a dad joke, I promise I will always laugh. I am the one often telling the dad jokes, and it's just so much fun. And I think that, as you have mentioned earlier, delivery is key when it comes to dad jokes, but it's always very fun, and I always enjoy a good dad joke. So I like this tweet of the game. And Huron is going to get the handoff once again, and he will get looks like just past the first down markers, and that'll bring up a new set of downs for the Bruins. And one of the things that's interesting, Reagan, is this Regis defensive line doesn't have any huge players. I know that they had one lineman last year who was, I believe, about 6'1", 300 plus pounds, and he was a big kid. They don't have a whole lot of those kids this year, just a lot of athletic kids, and I think that's how both these programs are, made up of just a lot of athletic kids, and I feel like it shows. And Mark Heel's going to fire one outside to Kyer Johnson. Nice catch as he was hit by Harvey right as he caught it, and that'll be a gain of, looks like just about 3 or 4 yards on the play.
And, well, that's definitely true what you were just saying. One thing we see a lot with Cherry Creek versus other teams is you take the skill out of it, you take the coaching out of it, everything, and you just look at these guys side by side. Cherry Creek always seems to be so much larger in general than these other teams, and that's definitely such a huge aspect in such a physical sport when it comes to how easily these running backs can get through those holes.
And Markiel takes a huge hit as he tried to fire one over the top to Cece. And glad to see Markiel pop up after that one. That was a big hit from Moore as he was coming in there with a full head of steam. And, you know, Reagan, we don't see a lot of those hits on quarterbacks often, but when you do, it always makes you hold your breath for a little bit as you wait for them to get up. Definitely don't want to see Markiel get hurt, especially as he seems to be picking up some steam here in this season. He's going to take this snap and hand it off to Huron. Huron's going to break out outside, and he will be brought down. It looks like they're going to get Harvey with the face mask, and Huron was a little slow to get up. It looks like he's going to be all right, but that'll be a big penalty here for the Raiders, and will send the Bruins forwards 15 yards.
And one thing we've seen from Markiel so far this season is that he does seem to be a very quick decision maker. He doesn't hold the ball in his hands for too long, which has definitely been a factor in this game. We've seen those Regis defenders come off really fast and actually be able to get through our defense on many occasions, but luckily so far, Markiel's been able to get the ball off fast enough that it isn't too much of a factor so far, but I can definitely see if he would have held that ball for a little bit longer, he could have taken even more sacks by now.
And you always have to give props to this offensive line. They've done a pretty good job not letting their quarterback get hit so far in this game, and looking to continue that, obviously, as Markiel will take the first down snap, and he's going to hand that off to Huron, and Huron will be brought down after a gain of about 2 on the play. And Reagan, just an observation, not sure if you're seeing this as well, but things look to be getting a little chippy down there on the field between some of the players.
I think, well, just whenever you see Creek and Regis together, as we've been saying, it brings a lot of emotions into the mix. We see Regis a lot in various sports throughout the year, and I think it definitely has become such a huge rivalry compared to Creek and other schools that maybe they don't see as much, but with Regis it definitely seems to be a situation where a lot higher levels of emotion are involved, and I can definitely see this game getting pretty chippy as we get further in.
And Markiel is going to roll out to his right. He will fire one to Cece on the sideline, and they are going to give him the catch. Quite the toe tap here for Ishmael Cece. And Reagan, you talked about some of his college recruitment, and there is a reason he is such a high-profile receiver, and it's plays like that, just having that awareness and that body control to be able to haul that one in, and really an impressive play there to give the Bruins the first down.
That's for sure, and I think one thing we've seen from Ish a lot is just he knows exactly where he is on the field. He knows that he needs to be able to get his feet down there in time, like you said, those nice toe taps. He's just a very athletic person in general, and he is such a weapon. So I am definitely excited that we're seeing him get the ball a lot more, because I think the past few games our running game has been so on fire and so good that they haven't been throwing the ball out to the receivers as much. But it is always nice to see Ish get the ball in his hands, because he is so valuable and so smart out there on the field.
And Bruins in a little bit of a hurry up as they had some substitution issues. Markiel able to get the snap off before the delay of game was called, which was very impressive. I was getting a little concerned there, Reagan, as they had guys coming on and off the field with less than 20 seconds remaining on the play clock, but they were able to get it off. It looked like Ishmael Cece had to go off and get some tape because he was bleeding. And, you know, Reagan, I always have thought it's an interesting rule that you can't be bleeding in football, but the refs really just don't like that. So if you're bleeding, they make you go off the field and get it taken care of, which, I don't know, I guess makes sense, but definitely an interesting rule. Markiel is going to take the snap, and he will hand it off to Bubba Tan. Tan is going to break up the middle, and we'll get about a gain of 4 on the play, leaving the Bruins just short of the first down marker, bringing up a third down and just about 2 on the play.
And Tan was wrapped up there by Nebraska commit Hayden Moore. He has a total of 65 tackles on the season, 8 of those tackles for a loss of yards. So he has definitely established himself as a weapon for that Regis defense. And we've seen him make some big impact hits so far this game.
And Reagan, I am happy to see that Bubba Tan was in the game on that last play. That means that his injury, whatever it was, wasn't too bad. But Jordan Huron down the sideline. Touchdown, Bruins. What a run for Jordan Huron. And somehow he was able to tiptoe down the sideline and was able to punch that in for the touchdown. And the Bruins will send out their kicking team, looking to get a 14-0 lead before the end of this first half. And Stars' kick will be up and good. And with that carry by Jordan Huron, the Bruins have scored 2 touchdowns tonight, which seems less impressive than I believe they were at 44 or maybe even 50 points last game by the end of this first quarter. But I think the fact that they've been able to score 2 touchdowns against the Raiders and also hold them to a shutout so far is very impressive. But these boys will just need to continue working hard, and I think they can get the results they want.
Definitely. And then also one thing, after the points are scored, seeing Ben Starr come on for the PAT it's just been nice to see his adaptability so far this season. I don't believe he was a kicker until Thomas Skegline got hurt. He may have been a backup, or I don't know, but his main position was quarterback. So it's always good to see him come out here and be able to make those kicks.
And looks like we're going to have Max Ortega kicking this one off for the Bruins. That will be fielded at about the 7-yard line, and it looks like the Raiders are going to be breaking free, and Barnes has no one in front of him. He's going to take it all the way to the house for the Raiders touchdown. One flag after the play, but that should not affect the touchdown. Lots of pushing and shoving there near the Bruins sideline. Don't quite know who that one is going to be on, but if I had to guess, that will be on the Bruins. And Barnes able to respond for the Raiders there and give the Raiders a much needed lift, as we have just about 3 minutes 41 seconds remaining in this first half.
And Will, Barnes has an impressive 73.3 yards per game, and he does seem to be who Regis likes to go to. That is quite a lot of yards per game, so that breakaway is maybe something that Regis sees often from him.
And the touchdown will stand. And then it looks like they're going to get, the Raiders actually with the personal foul. But that will be after the play, so that will most likely be enforced on the kickoff. And we see the Regis coaches talking with the refs, clearly not happy. I missed what happened initially, but oftentimes the refs will see whatever happens first and they'll throw the flag. So tough blow there for Regis after the huge touchdown, but they will punch that field or PAT in, and just about 10 seconds after the Bruins put 7 points up on the board after the Huron touchdown, the Raiders respond with a touchdown of their own. And you know what, Reagan, I think this is where the Bruins have to step up and try to score again here in this next 3.5 minutes.
Definitely, and I think if the Bruins do score again, that it would be a nice way to establish control over this game, take back some of that momentum after the Regis touchdown, and hopefully roll that momentum over into the second half if they are able to score here within these last 3 minutes and 41 seconds.
And we will see the Raiders getting pushed back a lot on this kickoff. They will be kicking off from their own 25-yard line. And Reagan, during the Ralston Valley game, we saw Thomas Gegline have to kick off from his own 30-yard line, and he was actually able to get it to the end zone. We'll see what McCullough can do here. And I would like to point out that McCullough is our kicker here, but he also is an impact wide receiver for the Raiders. And I talked about being athletic earlier, and we see it here. Big kick here. That'll go to about the 9-yard line, and it looks like Fox took that and he got out to just past the 30-yard line. And Bruins will come out hoping to respond to the Raiders' response to their touchdown.
That was a very good kick indeed. It seems to, I think we've seen so far this season actually a lot of really good kickers. So
yes, it's always an enjoyable part of the game, and the special teams is critical to winning games, especially as we get into some of these higher level games like this one. And the Bruins will start on their 30-yard line, handing it off to Huron up the middle. Huron is going to plow forward for about a gain of 7 on the play. And I'll be curious to see if the Bruins decide to keep it on the ground or if they're going to go a little bit more hurry up. They definitely have plenty of time here as the clock is still above 3 minutes to go in this first half. And Mark Heel will take this one from the shotgun, and they are able to draw the Raiders off sides, and that should be, I didn't see any movement from the Creek offensive line, but I guess we'll see. And yep, they are going to get the Raiders with the offsides. So the Bruins will have a new set of downs at about the 42-yard line. And they are looking to continue driving down the field. We have Markiol. He's going to fake the handoff to Huron and launch one deep. That's CC on the far sideline. He will go up and not quite able to make the catch. And nice coverage there by Harvey on that far sideline. And we've seen Coach Logan drop a couple plays where Markiol is throwing it up to CC with Harvey in coverage. And, you know, Reagan, I don't know if there's something between those two, but they've definitely had an exciting matchup tonight.
Yeah, they definitely have. And another thing with those deep throws is we've gotten a really good look at Markiol's arm today, and he definitely has the power to be able to get that ball downfield for some of those really big passes, which does put Regis off guard a little bit as they have to try and defend that.
And Huron's run will gain about 4 yards on the play. And Bruins will be faced with a third down. And it looks like just about 6 or 7 as the clock nears the 2-minute mark in this second quarter. And we are seeing Harvey will switch sides of the field so that he is on whatever side CC is, and Markio will drop back. He's going to throw the screen to Huron. Huron is going to break free on the right side. He is one man to beat, and smart play there for Ishmael CC, as it would have been easy for him to try for the blindside block, but he did not go for it because that would have hurt the Bruins a lot more. And it looks like they are going to have the first down at about the 35-yard line. And
Huron does seem to be in a little bit of pain. I think that was a thumbs up that he just sent the sidelines that he's all right, but we'll see. He does seem to be breathing a bit heavy back there. Hopefully he's okay.
And it looks like we're going to get a timeout here from the Raiders, actually. I was expecting one from Coach Logan, especially as this time was ticking down, and I'm sure that Coach Logan's philosophy, though, right now is that he does not want to give the Raiders any opportunity to score after, hopefully, they score.
One thing you mentioned with Harvey following Ish to whatever side he's on, I can very easily see the Regis head coach saying, look, this is your guy. You need to stay on him throughout the game. Just switch over to whatever side he's on. Make sure that he can't get the ball in his hands. And Harvey does seem to have done a pretty good job of that so far. We'll see if he continues to follow Ish to whichever side he ends up on.
And Bruins will have 1st and 10 from the Raiders' 35-yard line. And we have 1:34 remaining in this first half. Once again, I apologize. I do not believe our clock is working quite how we would like it to. Markio is going to drop back, fire one out to Kyer Johnson on the far sideline. Johnson will get tripped up, but he will get inside the 15-yard line. Excuse me. Looks like they're going to mark him down at the 16-yard line, actually. And a huge first down for the Bruins. And that was such a simple play call, Reagan, but it was so effective.
Yep, and we're seeing that we have about 1:20 left on the clock here with good field position, so hopefully the Bruins can punch in this final touchdown before the half and get that momentum going again.
And once again, Bruins in no hurry as they are inside the red zone now. Cooper Pollard in the ISO on the bottom of the screen. Huron is going to take this one. He will cut up the middle, get just about to the 6-yard line, and that'll be enough for a Bruins first down. It looks like Coach Logan is going to call a timeout after that run. And he wants to make sure that he's getting the play call that he wants, and honestly, he might be giving his guys a little breather here because that was a big drive that they've had so far. Once again, very methodical, just like the first drive of the game, and something that he wants to probably try to encourage his team to continue doing, but if he's going to encourage them to do it, he has to give them breaks. So probably his philosophy here as we get just under 1 minute remaining in this second quarter. And be sure to stick with us at halftime. We will keep our cameras on for the marching band, the cheerleaders, and the Poms. It's always a fun halftime show here. We never have any part in it as CCSN, but we also are going to be sending it down to Ella Davis here right at the end of the half with, I believe, an exclusive interview, so that's very exciting. And the Bruins will be at, looks like they're going to have them just short of the 5-yard line, and it will be first down and goal. And Reagan, I wouldn't be surprised to see a handoff here to Huron. Oh, and they're going to get the play action, and miscommunication once again. Both CC and Johnson went inside, and Markio threw it outside, and that pass will fall incomplete.
we are seeing a conversation down there between Logan and CC. Whatever they just talked about in the huddle was obviously they had their wires crossed on something there. We saw one go one way and the pass go the other way. So hopefully they can figure that out here as they try to score with just 53 seconds left. That'll
definitely be a point of focus for Coach Logan in the locker room, making sure that everyone is on the same page. And Mark Heal's going to fire this one up to CC. CC able to get his feet down. We have a signal from one ref that says incomplete, and it's kind of hard to tell from our angle, honestly, Reagan. It looked like a pretty clean catch to me, but I have a horrible angle from up here in the booth.
Yep, and I have horrible eyesight, so I'm not sure. They did knock the pylon over there in the back left corner, so, but it does look like they are going to call it incomplete, so we're going to try again.
So it will be 3rd down and 5 here for the Bruins. They are going to hand it off to Huron. Huron is trying to get outside to the right side, and he will get in for a touchdown. And Jordan Huron will punch in the 3rd touchdown of the day for the Bruins. And we do have a Raider down on the field. Looks like he is in considerable pain. Hopefully he is okay.
We are seeing quite the impressive showing tonight from Jordan Huron. Well, you love to see it. I believe he had 2 touchdowns last week, and now he's followed that up with 3 tonight, so maybe he'll just keep scoring one more each game. I'd certainly love to see that.
And coming into tonight, Reagan, he had 200-plus yard games in this season, and I wouldn't be surprised if this game marks a 3rd for him this season, which when you have 3 out of your 5 games that are over 100 yards rushing, that is incredibly impressive. And Huron has done a nice job in it. He's done a nice job stepping up tonight, especially after Tan went out with that mild injury. He hasn't really been back in a whole lot since then, and even after we saw Huron shaken up a little bit on one of the previous plays, he stayed in the game instead of Bubba Tan coming back in. So we will, of course, keep you updated on Tan. He came back in for 1 or 2 plays, but I haven't really seen him since. Don't know quite what was wrong with him, but looks like we will have our Regis player getting up and walking off under his own power, and the Cherry Creek special teams will jog onto the field for their 3rd PAT of the night. And we will have junior Ben Starr kicking this one. And there is 44 seconds remaining in this first quarter as Starr will get this kickoff, and it will be good. And the Bruins will take the 21-7 lead with just about 45 seconds remaining. And Reagan, I think that's just what the Bruins needed as they head into halftime.
Yeah, definitely. I think just reestablishing that momentum going into the half, especially against Regis, like we were talking about. This is such a high-emotion game for a lot of the players, as any rivalry game is. And I think so far we've seen that the Bruins have kept their cool, aside from a couple situations that have gotten maybe a bit choppy down there. But for the most part, the Bruins have kept their cool, which is always good to see in one of these emotional rivalry situations. But I'm interested to see how they come out here looking in the second half, what Logan says in there during halftime.
And it looks like instead of Maxwell Ortega, we are going to have freshman quarterback Brady Vadica coming in to take this kickoff. I don't know quite what the rationale is behind this. I know he punted a little bit after Geglein's injury, but it looks like they're going to do an onside kick, and Bruins not quite able to get that one. Multiple flags on the play. That will be for the illegal procedure on the kickoff, but I love the effort there, and I mean, what a good play call. You have nothing to lose here, Reagan. There's less than a minute on the clock. Why not go for the onside kick?
That was interesting indeed. I don't think anyone was expecting that. It definitely seemed to catch quite a few Regis players off guard. We saw some of them almost lurching down there at the ball, not quite knowing what to do with their feet after it came off so low and such a short kick. They're definitely not used to seeing that. Caught them off guard for sure.
To be honest, Reagan, it didn't really look like the Bruins knew what was happening either.
And they might not have.
We saw Ortega come out onto the field and then we saw Vadika run onto the field and take Ortega off, and I don't know if the Bruins really knew what was going on there. Kanapke, who was on that far sideline, looked kind of as confused as we felt up here in the broadcast booth.
Maybe sometimes Coach Logan's genius just slows down for no man, including these Cherry Creek Bruins, and maybe sometimes they can't quite keep up.
So Carroll will have one last attempt here to lead a drive for the Raiders before halftime from about the 46-yard line, and he is going to try to run this one. Will be brought down by Patrides. No gain on the play, and it looks like we will get a timeout here for the Raiders. And the Raiders definitely hoping to capitalize on this drive, especially given the good field position that they were awarded after that illegal procedure on the kickoff. And we've seen it from McCullough, their kicker, that he has a nice leg. So if I had to guess, Reagan, his max probably is going to be about 50 yards, which would put us at about the 32-yard line as the place to get for the Raiders. So we'll see what they're able to do here on this drive. There's 39 seconds remaining in this second quarter. So we'll see if Carroll can lead a nice little drive here and top it off with some points for the Raiders.
I think one thing so far, as we've seen Logan kind of call these timeouts and talk to his guys, is that he's just trying to make sure that everyone is on the same page. We've seen quite a few instances of miscommunication and confusion. We'll see how that gets maybe fixed in the second half.
And Carroll's going to be swallowed up by Blake Purchase, and Carroll hardly had time to look up. He went for the play action, and I think he got his eyes up, and Blake Purchase was right there. And Reagan, the thing that's even more impressive about that play is that Blake Purchase was there, and very close behind him was Angelo Patrides and Logan Brantley. So I think of the three, I don't know who I'd rather be hit by.
None of them. We can see them
options
down there on the field. Logan seems to be very, very pumped up and excited after that one, which, I mean, who wouldn't be?
Definitely not an ideal situation for the Raiders, and that will bring us to the end of the first half, as the Bruins will lead over the Raiders 21-7. And Reagan, that was a very exciting half of football. Both teams showing great effort. We saw the one score on the kick return for the Raiders. But Bruins defense has done a really nice job here tonight.
They have, for sure. And quickly, before the band comes out here and starts creating some of that wonderful background noise, we are going to have it down with Ella Davis on the sideline. She is here with the Creek mascot.
Hey guys, I am here with Ollie. How does it feel to be in the Bear night tonight? Why did you choose to be the Bear this game? How does it smell in there? And how hot is it? And then can you tell me what is on the top of the bear head? Perfect. Keep that going. Back up to you guys.
And thank you, Ella. Mascot interviews are always very fun. We are going to take a quick break here for halftime. You can enjoy the incredible Cherry Creek Palms, followed up by, I believe, just the marching band today. No performance by cheer. And then we will be back here on CCSN shortly with first half review and getting ready for the third quarter. Thanks for joining us on CCSN. We'll be back shortly. And we are back here in the Stutler Bowl as the Cherry Creek Bruins prepare to kick off this second half against the REGIS JESUIT Raiders. And we've had an exciting game. I'm William McDavid alongside Reagan Kanabe. And if you are just joining us, this has been quite the matchup as the #1 Cherry Creek Bruins have hosted the #5 REGIS JESUIT Raiders. And Reagan, it's been a fun game so far.
Yeah, it has. Well, we've seen so far that the Bruins have been able to put 3 scores up there on the board, which was definitely impressive for this first half against the Raiders. I think something that we're going to be looking for going into this second half is that communication between quarterback and receivers. We've seen, I believe, 3 or 4 plays so far where there has been a huge miscommunication between quarterback Aurelio Marchiol and whichever receiver he is throwing to. We'll see if that gets corrected in this second half. I imagine that was a major topic in the locker room during halftime.
And the Raiders appeared to have 12 men on the field. I'm not great at math, but I counted 12. And Ortega will take this kickoff to start the second half, and it does not start great as it looks like they are going to get one of the Bruin players for offsides. But Reagan, I would like to point out, we have a lot of our starting defense here on this kickoff team, which we haven't seen so far this season. But I believe that after that first half return for a touchdown, the coaches probably were like, you know what, we got to put our dogs out there.
Yeah, it would definitely make sense that they'd want to put those big defensive guys out there, try and go make a play happen just to really establish themselves right here at the very beginning of the second half. It's definitely an understandable thing to want your big guys out there trying to make that play. And
that is probably why we had someone cross the line a little early, is because most of these guys don't do kickoff very often. So looks like we are going to be seeing Ortega back up. But yeah, some notable guys we have out here: Kanapke, Brantley, Patrides, Rice, Russell, Warren. I mean, this is basically the starting defense for the Bruins. And we'll see if they might have to cover this one, especially given they got set back 5 yards. So now a couple minutes after we thought we were going to start, Ortega will actually take this kickoff, and that will go to about the 17-yard line. And it looks like we're going to get Kanapke, who will get there first and lay the hit on Thermidor. And nice job there for the makeshift special teams unit.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of hits out here from Aiden Kanapke recently. He had that huge interception in, I believe it was the 3rd or 4th quarter of the Arvada West game last week. He's established himself so far as a really important part of this defense. And I mean, I think you could say that about every single player of this defense, that they've established themselves as an important piece. But Aiden Kanapke for sure has definitely come out here and put up some really big tackles and some good interceptions so far.
Definitely, Reagan. And Carroll will take this one, and he is going to hand it off. And looks like that will be Medina on the carry. He will be tackled after a gain of about 1 or 2 on the play. And I believe that was Javion Smith-Combs who was there first.
The defense does seem to have some renewed energy out there. I can kind of see the hand motions that they're making at each other down there, just like, let's go. So.
And, you know, I've been present for some of Coach Logan's motivational speeches, whether it be pregame or halftime, and I gotta say, it gets you pumped up. So I'm sure they're feeling excited for this next half of football. Carroll's going to pass this one out, and that will be complete to, I believe that was McCullough on that far side of the field, and that'll be enough for a Raiders first down, and they will get a new set of downs.
And we did see from McCullough earlier that I believe was it a kickoff that he kicked. That's one thing I love about high school football is you see these players playing multiple positions that you just wouldn't seem to put together, because there maybe it's not like college where you have players each specifically for a certain thing, and so that was definitely funny to see.
And that run for the Raiders will be brought down after a gain of 2 on the play. That was, I believe, Medina on that run. And that will bring up 2nd down and 8. Raiders looking to almost go in a little bit of a hurry up, no huddle offense here. Not necessarily a hurry up, but just no huddle. And I don't know if this is just the Raiders coaches not wanting to allow the Creek defense to get set or what, but we'll see if it works for them. And it looks like we are going to have Medina trying to get outside and a far flag coming in from the back ref. Not quite sure what that's going to be. And the officials are conversing in the middle of the field. And that was a nice play there for the Bruins defense. They were able to swarm Medina and bring him down. Looks like we're going to get a holding call on the Raiders, so that will move them back 10 yards, and we will replay 2nd down. And Reagan, one of the things I've been wishing we could get, and I don't know if it's going to happen, but sometimes I wish that these refs were mic'd up, because I think everyone in the stadium would appreciate if we could hear them.
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of people also are either unable to see what the ref is calling, or they don't understand the hand motions.
Yes.
And so then the crowd gets a little bit rowdy because they're not quite sure why things are happening.
And that handoff there to Chase will be for just about a gain of 4 on the play. He was tripped up. He actually had a pretty nice hole down the middle of that Bruins defense, but he was tripped up. So it will be 3rd down and 14 here for the Raiders. And this is a big stop here for the Bruins if they can get it. Definitely wanting to come out with a bang starting this 3rd quarter. And Carroll is going to shovel pass down, and it looks like that is going to be Chase with the nice run after receiving the shovel pass. And that will be more than enough for the 1st down, putting the Raiders at about the 42-yard line, moving into Bruins territory.
That was definitely a nice play there by the Regis offense. Kind of, I think one thing that they've been able to do so far that's good against this defense is kind of come up with some more tricky plays, kind of catch him off guard a little bit. As we saw there, he was able to make that run for that 1st down.
And we had 3 separate flags coming on that play, one for both of the line judges and then one from the back judge. And looks like we have a Bruin who is slow to get up. Can't quite tell who that is. That may be Easy Rice, who is down in a heap on the field. And we will see what our call is. There may be multiple calls. I'm trying to think of something that all 3 of those officials would have thrown their flags for. Oftentimes, and this is sometimes an unknown fact, but different officials have different responsibilities on what they're looking for. It looks like they're going to get holding on the offense, and that should just back the Raiders up 10 yards. I believe that's Rice. I can't tell for sure. He really has been in a heap on the ground and hasn't rolled over a whole lot, so it's kind of hard to see the numbers, but just based off appearance, it looks like that is defensive lineman Easy Rice, and definitely someone you don't want to lose, not only as, you know, incredible player on the field, but just a presence on the field. And he always is encouraging his teammates and getting them fired up, and we hate to see it. We'll see the Bruins taking a knee on their far sideline. And Reagan, I think maybe it's time for another dad joke.
Yeah, I think so. Maybe lighten the mood in here a little bit. One we have from Kel McDavid herself. Will, why don't eggs tell jokes?
I don't know, Reagan.
They'd crack each other up.
That's a good one.
Thank you, Kel. And one thing we have at Creek is every Friday, Principal Silva comes on the announcements and he tells some dad jokes. So, Mr. Silva, I'm sure he's out here, but if you're listening to this or someone you know is listening to this, maybe you can write a couple of these down. I'm sure we'd love to have them read out over the announcements tomorrow.
Yes, it's a lot of fun and definitely fun to listen to. Reagan, I guess I have another one that maybe is, I don't know. I don't know if it'll make anyone laugh or not.
Try me.
Okay. I have to find my joke. Rice is able to get up and walk off the field under his own power, which is good to see.
And we're hearing the crowd chant his name. I'm sure that's encouraging for him as he walks off.
Yes, so before we get started on this 1st down and 20, here's my dad joke. What did the grape say when it got crushed?
What?
Nothing. It just let out a little wine.
That's a good one, Will. I like that one for sure.
Thank you, Reagan. So the Raiders will take over at the 48-yard line after the holding penalty. Carroll's going to launch one over the middle. That was the tight end, Andrew Metzger, and he's only had 1 reception on the day, I believe. But he is a big frame, standing at 6'5", and the Raiders definitely in a hurry-up, no-huddle offense. And Carroll is going to take this one, and he will hand it off inside to Chase. Chase will get a gain of about 4 on the play, bringing up 3rd down and 6. And Bruins did a nice job there. That was a quick hurry-up there for the Raiders, and Bruins did a nice job adjusting there. So it will be 3rd down and 6. Carroll in the gun. He's going to fake the handoff, and will pass that one up top. Nice grab there by Metzger. And we do see a flag on the play.
Well, one thing just in these last couple plays, it seems Blake Purchase is kind of out there alone. Whatever he's doing, he's escaping whoever is blocking him. The quarterback for Regis has been able to get the ball off in time. That it's not been an issue so far. But if he holds up ball for any longer, Purchase is there and ready to take him down.
And it looks like they are going to get the Raiders for an ineligible man downfield. And I'm pretty impressed that could happen, especially because that was such a quick pass. That doesn't happen very often at the high school level, but when it does, it's typically on something like a longer play. So definitely surprising call there, but it will be 3rd down and just about 11 here for the Raiders. And I would say this is definitely 4-down territory for them, as we are just about 7 minutes remaining in this 3rd quarter. Carroll is going to roll out to his left, and he's going to fire one deep, and that will be caught on the far sideline by, I believe that was McCullough, and he will be knocked down, but not after he gets the 1st down.
It looked like we did have some defenders going after number 17 out there. He was down there closer to the end zone, drew him away from that player out there, and he was able to catch that ball pretty much wide open.
And you're talking about number 17, DeAndre Barnes, and he was the one that has scored the only touchdown for the Raiders tonight on that kickoff return, and you definitely see why the Bruins are taking care to guard him well. That was a nice run there for Chase, and that'll give the Raiders another 1st down, definitely in the hurry-up mode, and this seems to be working well for them against this Bruins defense. And looks like they're going to hand it off to Chase again. That will be taken down early by Chase Brackney of the Bruins, and it'll be just about a gain of 1 or maybe 2 on the play.
I think one thing also with this hurry-up offense, Will, is that it doesn't give the defense much room to breathe at all. So we are seeing them out there, it looks like, kind of breathing a little bit heavier, but they do seem to be hanging in there just fine.
And Carroll is going to roll out to his right. He will fire one out to Metzger. No good on the pass attempt. And that was a little far for the tight end. And I got to say, it's a big body to miss. And it looks like they're going to slow down a little bit here as they get some substitutions. And Carroll will be taking this snap from the shotgun. It's 3rd down and just about 9. They tried to go with the hard count, not quite able to get the Bruins offside. I saw Chase Brackney with a little bit of movement, but he didn't cross into the neutral zone, so there will be no penalty there. And it looks like the clock is going to tick down to 0, but I believe that the Raiders called a timeout before the delay of game. So this will, I believe, be the first timeout of the half here for the Raiders. And actually, I believe that's the second timeout. Never mind. But definitely a crucial point here for the Raiders. They have to be able to score a touchdown here if they want to stay in this game, in my opinion, Reagan.
Yeah, definitely. And one thing I also did want to mention is Easy Rice has come back onto the field, so he seems to be okay. I'm thinking maybe it was a situation where he kind of got the wind knocked out of him a little bit, had a hard time getting up, but he is back here, so hopefully everything is okay with him and he can continue to be a big piece of this game.
We still have no update on Bubba Tan. We haven't seen a whole lot of him since he limped off the field after that one play where he appeared to have injured maybe his ankle. We haven't seen a whole lot of him. We saw him on one rushing play, but I'd say definitely want to be conservative with him. He's a big asset to this Creek team, and you definitely don't want to lose him and force anything that makes an injury worse.
And also with Jordan Huron here in this game, it's not entirely necessary that Tan come back right away, so they are able to give him some time to breathe.
And the Raiders are going to have this on 3rd down and 9, and Carroll's going to fire it out to Barnes on the close sideline. Barnes is going to try to spin out of a tackle, but that was Brantley and Warren on that combined tackle, with Patrides coming in as a little bit of a cleanup crew. So that'll bring up 4th down for the Raiders. They, as I believe is the correct choice, are leaving on their offense instead of bringing out a field goal unit. It'll be 4th down and I believe just about 6 or 7. And Carroll will take this one in the gun. He's going to roll out to his left, and he will fire one into the end zone, and that is going to be incomplete. McCullough was the intended receiver. It looked for a second there, Reagan, like he had caught it, but nice job there by the Bruins secondary, bringing him down and not allowing any further points on the board.
Well, I was thinking that we could have almost seen an interception there. There was quite a few Bruins that quite literally dove in front of that ball, and I think there was about 3 or 4 of them out there. I wouldn't have been surprised at all if they'd come up with another defensive interception, but no points on the board is no points on the board, so it's all right.
So the Bruins will take over at their own 16-yard line, and it looks like we have senior quarterback Brian Rudden in the game. And Reagan, I'm not going to lie, I'm a little surprised just given how close this game still is relatively, but you know, it just shows the faith that Coach Logan has in his quarterback, and that first run there for Huron will be about a gain of 4 on the play, bringing up 2nd down and 6.
Well, I can agree with that. I'm also a little bit surprised because normally what we've seen is that Mark Yule has started and played until the Bruins have racked up enough points that Logan will let some of the other quarterbacks go in there and have a chance. I think this is just a testament to this ongoing quarterback battle. Logan is just, he obviously has Mark Hill starting, but he's just not 100% sure so far who he wants his quarterback to be.
And Rudden is going to launch one deep. CC is wide open down the sideline, able to stay in bounds. He's at the 20, the 10. Touchdown, Bruins. No flags.
And I think that's one of the first successful passes we've seen from Rudden so far, and that should definitely give him a little bit more confidence in his arm, as he definitely has that ability to get that ball out there to his receivers and make those plays happen. So I'm excited to see that for him, and hopefully that can kind of help him with the mental side of things, being able to throw that ball, because he did have some interceptions early in the season that kind of seemed to make him a little bit hesitant to throw, but maybe now after that big play we'll see some more throwing from Rudden, which would definitely be exciting.
So after the 85-yard touchdown pass from Brian Rudden to Ishmael Cece, Ben Starr will come on and nail the PAT, and the Bruins will take a 28-7 lead over the Raiders. And Reagan, that's just what the Bruins needed right about then.
I think that's definitely right. Well, obviously we love to see points on the board, but I think more importantly, getting that confidence back in Rudden is just so important. You could see after that play just how happy he was running out there to hold for Ben Starr as he kicked that point after attempt, just having his hands in that entire 7 points that just got put up on the board, I think is going to be really important for him going into the rest of this game.
And Reagan, there's a lot of things, there's a lot of things that happen in a football game that, you know, can get you excited, but a touchdown like that, great pass, great catch, impressive job by CC to stay in. He looked to be like inches away from that sideline.
Yes,
somehow he was able to stay in. Again, that body awareness, but really a fun play. We saw that happen, I believe, in the Ralston Valley game where CC ran a route that ended with him wide open. And I don't know exactly how that keeps happening for him, but his route running is impeccable and it leaves him wide open. There was no one within 15 yards of him on that play.
That's right. And whatever he's doing is working, and he just needs to keep it up because he's been a very effective player so far this game. I would say him and Huron definitely just switching off between the two has kind of put this Regis defense, set them a little bit off guard, which we were talking about throughout this game is important. And I think that's something that we're going to see is more offensive opportunities opening up because Regis doesn't exactly know what we're going to do, which adds in this level of unpredictability that's really important.
And the Raiders will take over at about the 26-yard line. And Carroll's going to hand it off to Chase. Chase will be brought down by Patrides and Howell after a gain of about 3 or maybe 4 on the play. And Reagan, things are still looking a little chippy down there between these two teams.
Well, I was just going to mention that Regis offensive player just went down, and Angelo Patrides looked like have a hand square in the center of his chest as he kind of threw him to the ground. I'm sure some words were exchanged, but.
And Chase will be taken down after another rush of about 3 yards. I believe that was Patrides once again on the tackle, and we hear some whistles. Looks like they're going to get McCullough coming off the field because he is bleeding as well. And Reagan, I mentioned it earlier. I don't really get it. Football's a violent sport.
Seems
why does blood have to
rub some dirt on it, right? But I guess not.
You don't want to get on their white uniforms.
That's very true.
And Carroll will take this one in the shotgun. And Chase will be in the backfield with him. That pass is going to go out for a little bubble pass on the far sideline. And nice job there by the Bruins defense, keeping the Raiders short of the first down marker, and that will bring up 4th down. And it looks like just about 2 yards on the play. And this is a big 4th down conversion here for the Raiders. They're going to hand it off to Chase once more. Chase able to break free. We do have a flag on the play. They may have gotten one of the Raider offensive linemen for holding.
And that's Marte Russell down there on the field, slow to get up. I didn't exactly see what happened to him. He's going to roll over on his back as the trainer comes out here. Hopefully he's okay. Yeah,
Reagan, definitely another impact player for this team. Last year we saw him trading out periodically with Christian Hammond at quarterback, but he's done a fantastic job this year just excelling in a lot of different places on the field, but just flying around, always seems to have positive energy, and, you know, very important player on this team. So hopefully he is okay. It does look like they got the Raiders for holding, so that will bump them back 10 yards, and it will be, I believe, 4th down and about 11, but not quite sure what is going on. The Raiders cleared the field. Marte Russell's still on the field. He was able to stand up, but they're just taking it slow with him.
Looks like it might be something with his foot. We'll see if they help carry him off the field. I'm not entirely sure. He seems to be walking on his own.
And after the holding call, it looks like the Raiders are going to be sending on their punting unit for the 4th down and 11. There's just about 3 minutes, 45 seconds remaining in this 3rd quarter, and nice defensive stand there for the Bruins. And Martin will be back to punt. And Kanapke will get this one, and he's going to try to get out to the left side. Not quite able to get there. And the Bruins offense will come on the field once more.
Again, we apologize for any problems with our play clock. We are trying to get that figured out. We're currently at 3 minutes and 29 seconds left here in this third quarter. Creek leads 28-7 over the Regis Jesuit Red Raiders.
And once more, Redden coming out on the field. He will have the split backs with Pollard and Huron. Huron will take this handoff, and he will be brought down after a gain of about 2 on the play. And one thing we saw there, Ray, and that we saw a lot in the Ralston Valley game was a little bit of a almost fumbled handoff between Redden and Huron. And I know that, I believe there were 2 fumbles in that Ralston Valley game, and in the Bruins defense, it was raining that night. So I know that the ball was a little slippery, but you know, something that as you continue to work on that chemistry between the running back and the quarterback, it'll definitely get better, and hopefully they can progress on that throughout the season. So Redden will hand it off to Huron. Huron is going to break free up the left side. He will be brought down by Harvey after a nice gain of, I believe, almost 30 yards on the play, and that'll be more than enough for the Bruins' first down. And Huron is going to go off the field as number 41, Michael Kim, is going to come on the field. He scored his first touchdown last week in the Arvada West game, and I know everyone was very excited about that, but we're definitely at the point where we're seeing more of the backups coming in, including Tyson Mock, Luke Shinefield, and Michael Kim. But, you know, these Bruins, you can't tell a difference even when the backups are in. It's still an impressive showing. Nice throw there for Rudden, not quite able to be hauled in by Kucharski. And that will bring up second down and 10.
One thing you just mentioned about the Creek backups is even though it doesn't seem to look any different when you're watching it, the level of play, the backups are just so excited to be out there. You love to see it. With that Michael Kim touchdown last week, I know that Blake Purchase and Logan Brantley and a few of the other starters were just so excited for him, and that's a nice thing to see with the starters being so happy for the backups when they're able to make those big plays out there.
And Redden's going to hand it off to Kim. Kim, nowhere to go, really. We'll get back to the original line of scrimmage. And looks like coming in for Kim is going to be freshman Jaden Fox. And we saw him, he had a nice little kickoff return earlier in the game. I believe it was almost a 20-yard kickoff return. So definitely has some speed on his side. Reagan, one thing I'd like to point out is that even though it's a Thursday night, school night, that crowd over there on the home side is still electric, and it adds to the atmosphere of this football game.
It definitely does. Well, it's nice to see all these fans come out here, even with a school night.
And Redden is going to launch one deep to Johnson. Johnson able to haul it in. Touchdown, Bruins. And Brian Redden with his second passing touchdown of the night. That's a 42-yard pass to Kyer Johnson. And Reagan, I gotta say, his quarterback rating after this game is going to be pretty high based off his attempts to touchdowns ratio. But that was a beautiful throw.
It wasn't. Well, this is not the same Brian Redden that we've been seeing so far this season. Something is different out here tonight, and it's a good difference. So hopefully that continues.
And Star's kick is good. And the Bruins will take the 35-7 lead with a minute and 24 remaining in this third quarter. And this has been a breakaway quarter here for the Bruins, Reagan.
It has, and I'm loving seeing Rudden on these big passes connecting with his receivers out there, because it is, as we've been talking about, just nice to see Rudden finally being able to make those connections after struggling a lot with the passing game those first couple games. I think it can definitely deplete your confidence because football is such a huge mental game as well. So it seems to be going in the right direction for Rudden.
And looks like we may have might be mistaken, but we may have a, oh, never mind. We do not have a different kicker out here, but we do still have our kind of modified kickoff team out here with some of our starting defensive players, and Coach Logan clearly wants to make a statement that Cherry Creek will not be letting up touchdowns on kickoffs. And Barnes is receiving this one, and he had the touchdown last time. Brantley able to pull him out of bounds at just about the 28-yard line. And nice sportsmanship there for Brantley, helping Barnes up on the sideline. And the Bruin defense will come out, and you know, Reagan, we saw a lot of substitutions on the offensive end in terms of who was playing. Not so much on the defensive end. Definitely these coaches want to make a statement, and they're showing they're not letting their foot off the gas.
Yeah, it definitely seems that we substitute our offense out a lot more than our defense, which is understandable because Regis still has all of their starters in on the offensive side, obviously. So it makes sense that we have our defense in here, just showing that we aren't going to allow any touchdowns.
And Carroll's going to hand this one off, and that'll be a gain of just about 2 on the play. Lots of Bruins there, and it looks like Medina is going to go down. He was trying to hop off the field, wasn't quite able to do so. He will get back up and seems to be in considerable pain.
Looks like another possible ankle injury. I feel like we've been seeing a lot of those tonight. Will, we are seeing him walk off. He does look to be in a good deal of pain over there, so hopefully he's all right.
And in for him will be Thermidor, and we saw him with a nice little kickoff return earlier in the game. Carroll's going to take this one, and he is going to drop back and fire one over the middle to Metzger, and that'll be enough for the first down. Metzger has had a nice game so far tonight, Reagan.
Yeah, he has. We've seen him be one of the more breakout players for Regis's offense, which is understandable. He's picked up quite a lot of yards, and he does seem to be one of their more valuable weapons down there.
Definitely, and especially in the second half, they've been utilizing him a lot more, which I actually was surprised we didn't see a whole lot in the first half. Carroll is going to take this snap, and it looks like he's going to go back to Metzger, and that'll be a gain of about 4 or 5 on the play. But you know, Reagan, as I mentioned, he's a 6'5" senior, and he has not only the physical attributes of a great player, but he has the experience of a senior, and you know, that's almost as, if not more important than anything you can do on the field. So definitely, you know, a player to keep watching out for as this season progresses. That will bring us to the end of the third quarter. The final score after 3 is going to be 35-7, and it's been very fun game so far. Breakout quarter here for the Bruins, as there have been lots of touchdowns in this quarter, and you know, it's been a lot of fun. But with that, we are going to send it down to sideline reporter Ella Davis. Ella, down to you.
Thanks, Will. Sure, in the third quarter, we saw super successful drives for the Bruins. We saw Brian Redden come in at QB and make 2 amazing offensive drives. He goes 1 touchdown to Ishmael CC and 1 to Johnson. We really see him connect here today in the third quarter. Compared to normal, it's sometimes not always on for Brian, but here in this third quarter, he really came through and made those passes to get to those touchdowns. We've seen a super successful third quarter, and I'm hoping for that to continue on to the fourth quarter. Thank you, guys.
And thanks, Ella, and you're right. It's been a nice little showing, refreshing here, seeing Redden and what he's been able to do in this game in the couple of possessions that he's had so far, and it's fun to watch. And you know, it's fun because just giving more guys opportunities is a lot of fun, but we are enjoying seeing it, and I'll be curious to see if Logan leaves Redden in or if he'll let the freshman Vadika come in for any of this fourth quarter. But we are going to start off with the Raiders on offense, and that little run there for Thermidor will be taken down after about a gain of 2, leaving us with 3rd down and 4. And I definitely would say this is 4-down territory for the Raiders. Carroll is going to hand it off to Chase. Chase will be brought down. Nice job there for Blake Purchase, bringing Chase down, and it looks like he will be just about 2 or maybe even 3 yards short of the first down marker. And it'll be 4th and 2, according to the tally on the scoreboard. And Carroll will start in the shotgun. And he's shown that he's not afraid to use his legs as well. He's going to bring McCullough in motion. Looks like a little option play here. McCullough is going to try to cut it upfield. Not going to be able to get it as Angelo Patrides with a nice play. And the Bruins were all over that play. I'm sure they've seen that on the scout team a couple times. And Reagan, that was an impressive play there for Patrides and the whole Bruins defense.
One thing we've seen from Patrides so far is he really started to make his mark last season for the Bruins. And he's only a junior, but he's such an important part of this team. Last year, he really made some huge plays for us, and he is so important out there and someone that we're definitely going to want to keep our eyes on as he goes into senior year, seeing where he might go play in the future.
There was a flag on the play, or excuse me, after the play was over. I'm assuming that it was some sort of unsportsmanlike conduct, as the official dropped it right by some of the Creek players as they were celebrating their nice play. But we'll see what the official's ruling is here as he goes and converses with the other officials and the Raiders coach. And looks like they are going to get the Bruins for unsportsmanlike conduct, which will move them back 15 yards. But it will be the Bruins ball, as the penalty came after the play was over. So Bruins ball, I believe they're going to be set back to somewhere near the 20-yard line or so. Or not. Excuse me. I was looking at where the flag was dropped and subtracting from there. It'll be Bruins ball at the 37-yard line, and they will take over as Rudden runs out on the field, and we'll see what he can do here on this possession. It's going to start in shotgun. Kim is in the game. He's going to break out to the left, nowhere to go, and he will be brought down by a swarm of Raiders on the play. Loss of, looks like about 3, and Fox will come in the game for Kim. And, you know, one of the things I can appreciate is that Coach Logan has left in some of his receiver weapons for Rudden. You know, that's really the only way that Rudden can get better and get comfortable as a quarterback, is if he has some of those starting guys still out there. So you can appreciate that from Coach Logan. And Rudden trying to hurry up as the play clock is ticking down. He's going to fire one out to Johnson on the far sideline. Johnson able to make one defender miss and will get past the first down markers just about to the 50-yard line.
And you're right, Will, with him having those receiver weapons out there in Jacob Kucharski and Kyer Johnson. You're right. It's really the only way that he can get more comfortable in these situations is just by doing it, and leaving those receivers out there for him kind of helps him, even though the stress is off a little bit right now with the 35-7 lead. It just, the repetition of it and feeling what it's like to be in this atmosphere is definitely going to help him become more comfortable and as he goes along in this season.
And Rudden able to get the Raiders to jump on the hard count, and that's always impressive when you can have your backup quarterback in and still get the defense to jump. It looks like they got him for the neutral zone infraction, and that will move the Bruins up 5 yards, making it 1st down and 5 from just about the 46-yard line, and they are now in Raider territory.
And Will, I love that composure, being able to get Regis to jump on those calls. It just shows the knowledge of the offense, them being able to stay calm, keep their cool, and make those plays and be able to get some of those yards off of that.
So it will be 1st down and 5 here, and There's just about 9 minutes remaining in this this fourth quarter. Coach Logan did just call a timeout, and he must have wanted to change up kind of what he was seeing based on the Raiders' defense. And Reagan, one thing that's been impressive tonight is just the composure that both of these teams have kept, but particularly the Bruins. I know that it's been getting a little chippy, but you really, other than when you're looking for it, you can't tell a whole lot, and sometimes it can get kind of dirty, but I haven't seen that a whole lot in this game so far, which, you know, you're proud of the guys to just keep their composure and, you know, let their actions speak louder than anything they're doing after the play.
Definitely, and I think that's a maturity thing as well. We do have a lot of older players out here that are juniors and seniors, and I think they're just able to kind of keep that cool a little bit more compared to the last time Creek saw REGIS, which was last season. We definitely had some situations there that you just don't want to see from your starters and your captains, getting those calls, getting in fights and stuff like that.
Shino Field in motion. They're going to toss it out to Fox. Fox is going to be able to keep his feet, but it looks like they are going to throw a flag on the play. That was that back judge holding on the Bruins, so that will set them back. And looks like we are going to get our third first down play of this new set of downs. And we do have 3 new receivers coming onto the field for the Bruins. I believe that was number 82, Joseph Williams, number 85, Jaden Irving, and then I believe one of the jerseys was number 83. I do not have 83 on my handy roster here, Reagan, so not quite sure who that is. He appears to be actually running off the field now.
I think we also just saw a new running back come in number 29, Stephen Kim, replacing Fox.
And Irving is going to go in motion, and Rudden is going to roll out to his right. He'll fire one to Shino Field. Shino Field will make the catch just past the 50-yard line and will get hit as he goes down.
And Will, I've already said this a couple times, but it just seems like night and day with Rudden out here making those passes. I think I don't have the exact stats on how many times he's ran the ball versus passed it, but it's definitely starting to balance out definitely a lot more than what we saw earlier in the season, which was just pure run game. So I am liking to see that more balance in the offense as he gets more comfortable. Yeah, definitely. And I think that even just with that throw, there was a little pressure coming, and he didn't show that he cared about the pressure. He just stood in there and made the throw, and that was impressive. Fox out to the left side. He's trying to beat his defender around the edge. He's going to try to jump over another tackler, not quite able to get back to the original line of scrimmage. And I believe that will bring up 3rd down and 8 possibly. And I saw Coach Logan kind of running down the sideline there almost, I think, to make sure that all the receivers were in the right formation. When you have some new guys in there sometimes, I think it's a little tricky, but you know, this just continues to show the depth of this program, Reagan, and it's a lot of fun to watch. And the fact that most of these guys who are, you know, sitting the bench or maybe not even getting to see the field ever could be very well be starting at another school, and that's pretty unique. Rudden able to get them with the hard count again, and that will move the Bruins up another 5 yards after the neutral zone infraction. You can see the REGIS players down there just kind of putting their head back like, oh, you got me. Rudden's been able to do that a couple times. I'd like to see that continue, obviously just picking up those yards without really having to do anything at all, which is always nice.
And now, after the neutral zone infraction, it'll be 3rd down and 3 here for the Bruins on the 44-yard line. Looking to extend their drive. Fox running it up the middle. He has room. He's going to break free, and he will score a touchdown. What a run by Jaden Fox. And we got to see the speed there as he completed the 44-yard touchdown and capped off what was a great drive there for the Bruins.
That was impressive indeed. Like we were saying about those backups scoring those touchdowns and how excited the starters are. You could see Jordan Heron over there jumping up and giving him a big hug. It's definitely exciting to see those backups in there scoring.
And speaking of backups, Reagan, we have backup kicker Caden Brown in the game here, about to attempt this PAT. Rudden will still hold, and Brown's PAT is up and good. And just once again, the depth of this team, it's incredible. But the Bruins will take the 42-7 lead with just about 7.5 minutes remaining here in this fourth quarter. And Reagan, I gotta say, I'm a little surprised.
Yeah, I definitely did not think this would be, that the score would end up this way. I thought we were going to see a closer game just after Regis's defeat over Valor and then their close loss to Ralston Valley, which is a good team. It's been definitely interesting to see tonight that we put so many points on the board. Will, I'm surprised as well. I wasn't expecting this. I would have thought by now that Regis would have more points on the board and that we'd have less, but I'll take it. I'm not gonna complain about that.
For sure, and it's fun football to watch, Reagan. That's for sure. And this definitely was one of the bigger matchups of the season. Excuse me. And I'd say probably what is going to end up being the biggest matchup of the season for the Bruins is going to be against Grandview here at the Stutler Bowl in the last week of the regular season. Ortega's kick is kind of a low line drive, and it looks like the Bruins are going to try to get down the return man. They'll tackle him at about the 31-yard line or so, and I believe that was McCullough on the return. He is a little shaken up after the play.
And Will, I think it's time for a couple more dad jokes. This one from my mother herself. Why do dads take an extra pair of socks when they go golfing?
Why, Reagan?
In case they get a hole-in-one. Thanks, Mom.
That's a good one. Golf puns, I mean, it's a perfect dad joke because it's talking about golf too. It makes it that much better. And Carroll will start his drive rolling out to the right. He will find Metzger, and Metzger will plow forward after getting hit by a couple of Creek defenders for about a gain of 4 or 5 on the play. And Raiders have continued to stick with their no huddle offense, but it looks like we may... Oh, it looks like there may have been an official timeout. I don't know, maybe someone had more blood on them. It's hard to tell. And it will be 2nd down and 5, and Coach Logan will call a timeout. It appeared that there was a little bit of confusion on the field. Reagan, I may have only counted 10 players on the field for Creek. I think Jordan Lujan had to run off the field due to blood or something, and they'd never replaced him with another player. So probably a smart timeout there for Coach Logan. You'd hate to get burned on a play because you don't have enough men on the field.
That's definitely true, and he has a couple timeouts to spare, so I mean, why not? Just make sure your guys are in a good position. I think that's, you know, with these backups in who don't play a lot, it's easier for those miscommunications to happen with players, maybe one coming off the field and not getting him replaced in time. So I think that's a smart timeout by Logan, just to get his guys reset, kind of let them have a breather, get them some water, and get them back out there ready to go.
And now we will have 2nd down and 5 for the Raiders. And most of the Bruins defense has been replaced with backups. Carroll's going to hand it off, and that is a nice run there for the running back, Thermiter, and he's just a junior, Reagan, and he's had an impressive game so far. So that will move the chains for the Raiders, and they will have a new set of downs in Bruins territory. And Carroll's going to fire one out to Barnes on the the close side of the field, and he will be brought down after a gain of, looks like about 8 on the play. He was definitely dancing with some of the backup secondary here for the Bruins.
Barnes definitely seems to be one of their top choices when it comes to receivers.
And they go back to Barnes, and he will be pushed out of bounds at about the 24-yard line, more than enough for the first down. And the Raiders putting together a nice little drive here as they're hoping to at least put up a couple more points on the board as we wind down to about just over 6 minutes in this fourth quarter. And Barnes, he will have another reception and will get inside the 10, maybe even inside the 5-yard line, and it'll be first and goal for the Bruins. And looks like we have some substitution issues happening here. Didn't seem like he was in too much of a hurry to get off the field. And it looks like they're going to go to Chase to try to push that in for the touchdown. Our close referee here says he is short, just about 1 yard short. And that'll bring up second down and goal from just about the 1. Chase is slow to get up and visibly angered by whatever injury is kind of nagging him right now. Not quite able to get up. He made an attempt. You know, we hate to see it. We've seen a lot of injuries tonight, Reagan, and it's not cool.
Yeah, that's for sure, Will. And one thing I will say, which is props to Regis, is that they keep pushing, keep going. They haven't given up in this game, although they are down by a considerable amount. They've kept going, kept trying, and we can see it here now on the goal line, just their willingness and desire to just keep going and play this through to the very end, which definitely props to them for that, for just seeing this through all the way.
And Carroll will line up in the shotgun. He's going to bring Barnes in motion. And he's going to fire one out to Barnes on the far sideline. And Barnes able to punch that in. Touchdown, Raiders. And that will be the first score for the Raiders since the end of the first half. And Barnes with both of the touchdowns for the Raiders tonight. And, you know, he's definitely an impressive athlete that we've noticed out here on the field all night. And Martin will come out to attempt the PAT. And looks like that one is going to be good. And our score with just over 5 minutes remaining in this fourth quarter is 42-14. The Bruins lead over the Raiders. And Reagan, this has been an exciting game. You know, there's been a lot of back and forth here, but it's very much been a defensive battle. And honestly, until we saw Rudden come in the game, we hadn't seen any huge plays. Lots of just like very methodical drives up and down the field from both teams. And it's been an exciting game to watch just because there's been so much back and forth. And honestly, I was in suspense coming into this game, and I definitely would say that kind of carried out for me throughout the whole first half.
Yeah, and it definitely is interesting to see what you mentioned with the methodicalness of play from the Bruins offense. We're kind of used to more, maybe the right word is heroics, from the Bruins offense trying to make those big plays. And I think they've kind of figured out as they've settled in to this season with 4 games under their belt, soon to be 5, is that you don't need those huge heroics to win games. You just need to get down the field and put points on the board. We're seeing that with some of these field goal attempts and just more willingness to throw those short passes, get those short runs, and just collect those first downs as they make their way downfield. They don't need any, 90-yard passes, which are always nice to see, but not always needed.
And the Bruins will send out their onside kick team, but if I had to guess, the Raiders are going to try to boot this one deep and go get it. And it looks like they may have crossed the line early, and they will have to re-kick 5 yards back. And definitely smart, I'd say, for the Bruins to have their hands team out there, because at this point the Raiders are going to do anything that they can to try and get possession back. I believe it's at least a 3-score game, but definitely continue fighting till the end, and I appreciate that from both teams. We've seen that all night tonight, just lots of effort, and it makes it more exciting football to watch. So Martin will reattempt the kickoff, this time from the 35-yard line. And he's going to kick this one deep to the near sideline. And Kucharski was able to haul that one in. CC kind of bear hugged him while they caught it.
It seemed like he tried to help keep him upright there. It looked like he wrapped him up around his shoulders, trying to keep him stay upright while he grabbed that ball. I mean, do what you got to do to get that ball, I guess.
You know, Reagan, last year on the hands team was senior offensive lineman and the Ohio State commit George Fitzpatrick, and he was on the hands team. And during practice, we would practice if he received the onside kick, everyone was supposed to go lay on top of him and cover it up so that the ball didn't go anywhere. And it was always a sight to see. All right, and it looks like we have Vadika in the game for the Bruins, and that handoff will go to number 27, Noah Moss. He is the freshman, and there will be a flag on the play. But Brady Vadika, who we saw take I believe, was that a kickoff earlier? It was the
that
kind of interesting squib onside kick that occurred at the end of the first half. And Vadika, though, is not, I don't think, a natural kicker. I believe that his natural position is quarterback, and he kind of got reeled into kicking this season when Gegline got hurt. But, you know, he's done a nice job in the appearances that he's had so far this season, and with just about 5 minutes left in this fourth quarter, I'm sure that he's just looking to take advantage of any opportunity he gets. He will hand it off to Moss once more, and Moss is going to try to plow forward. We'll get about a gain of 2 on the play after the penalty, and it'll be second down and just about 18 from the Bruins' 38-yard line.
And, Will, one thing I like from the Bruins in general, but especially these backups, like you were saying about Vadika, just being able to come in here and just show that they're willing to do whatever it takes to help out the team. It's that ability to have those team players on your team is just so important, because you can have people who are willing to just jump in and say, hey, if you need me here, then that's what I'll do, and that's something we've seen from Brady so far for sure.
And Vadika is going to roll out to his right after the play action. He'll fire one to Schinofield. Schinofield not quite able to haul that one in. Nice defensive play there for Tanner Rubik. And that'll bring up third down and very long. And if the Bruins don't get this first down, Reagan, we may get to see our first punt of the night. And it definitely would be interesting if Vadika stayed on the field to take this punt. But we will have to see here as the Bruins face what I believe is actually a third down and 16 on the play from the 38-yard line. Vadika directing traffic, which is impressive to see from a freshman quarterback. And it looks like they're going to get it's hard to say. False start on the Bruins. So that will extend how far they have to go to get this first down. Definitely looks pretty daunting from up here, Reagan. That's a lot of yards in between the line of scrimmage and the first down marker. But I'm not ruling anything out, Reagan. We've seen crazier things happen than a 20-yard first down. So Vadika will pitch it outside, and I believe that is number 25, Caleb Yamas, on the run. He will not get anywhere, and looks like they are going to be sending out the punting unit. And it does look like Vadika will be staying on the field to take this punt.
Well, here you go, Will.
You know what? This is what you call a athlete right here, Reagan. He can play quarterback. He can be the punter. He can do an onside kickoff.
He's got a lot of tricks up his sleeve for sure.
And it'll be the long snap by Laughlin. And Vadika will get this one off. Nice punt. That'll go to about the 25-yard line, and it's muffed by the Raiders, but it was luckily for the Raiders muffed out of bounds. And it will be the Raiders' ball at just about, it looks like, the 29-yard line.
And Will, I am interested to see, since this is a Thursday night game, we definitely see a lot of excitement over there on the Bruins sideline. I'm interested to see how they're going to be at school tomorrow. I'm sure they'll be, you know, very excited.
Yes, Reagan, I know that. I'm sure everyone is going to go home and go straight to bed and be ready for
I'm sure
a great day at school tomorrow. And it looks like we may have a change of quarterback here for the Raiders. I believe that is number 15, Peyton Lindell, in the backfield. And he is a sophomore quarterback, and he will hand that one off to Thermidor. Thermidor able to get a gain of about 4 yards on the play. And the clock will continue to tick as we get just about to 3 minutes remaining in this fourth quarter. And looks like they're going to be faced with a 2nd down and 5 on the play from their 4-yard line. And that pass attempt will be complete on the far sideline. And nice tackle there by number 54, Matt Luring.
Looks like we had somewhat of a missed tackle initially that let the Raiders pick up a few more yards on that.
And so after the chains were moved for the 1st down, Lindell will take this from the shotgun, looking to close the gap a little bit more for his team. And that was Cole Brandsma on the reverse there. Nice job by the Bruins defense, only allowing about a gain of 3 on the play. And Raiders sitting at just about the 50-yard line. And I don't know if there's a little bit harder communication now that they have their backup quarterback in. Still going no huddle, but definitely impressive. It looks like they are going to get Jack Jessuman for the false start for the Raiders. He looked to be taken off for a deep route and maybe got a little bit excited, which I can understand. So the Raiders will be moved back 5 yards to about the 45-yard line. And Lindell will take this one from the shotgun, and he will fire it out to the near sideline, and that is Jessuman, who will have the catch and a gain of about 9 yards or so, bringing up, looks like, a 3rd down and 4 yards to go for the for the Raiders. And they will go back to Jessuman, and looks like he will have just enough for the 1st down, so the chains will be moving as we just got under the 1 minute mark here in this fourth quarter.
It looks like we, the band tried to assist in that play a little bit, making a lot of noise when that ball got snapped.
And that is going to be either illegal formation or false start. The receiver never got set on that far side, so it looks like they're just going to get him for a false start. And the Raiders have definitely put in a lot of their backup players as well, so you're going to have some of those mistakes like that pop up. And Lindell will take this snap in what could be the last of the game. The run there for Thermidor gets just past the original line of scrimmage, and there's about 15 seconds remaining on the play clock. It looks like we will have time for just about one more play here on this beautiful Thursday night. It's been great football weather and a lot of fun to be out here. Lindell is going to roll out. He will fire one down the field to number 86, Jace Philman, and that is going to do it tonight in this ball game. And Reagan, it was fun. It was action-packed, and ultimately the Bruins came up with a win, and that's what they came into this game hoping, but I know there were a lot of people who weren't quite sure about this one, and they did a nice job just fighting throughout this whole game, and both teams did a fantastic job just, giving this game everything they got, and it was a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, definitely, and I think this game for sure will definitely show people, fans, and opposing teams that the Bruins are here and they're serious, and they are able to come out here and beat teams like Regis Jesuit, who have beaten Valor and played close matchups against schools like Ralston Valley. So I think this definitely was the most important one so far this season, just to show people that they're here and they're serious about winning these games, and they're going to do everything they can to make it possible, and it was a success for them out here tonight. And we are going to catch up with sideline reporter Ella Davis. It might be a second, as the Bruins always like to break up into their huddles, so just stick with us and we'll get Ella down there on the sidelines shortly here. But thanks for being with us tonight. Will, I think it was a great night.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and I know that there was a lot of anticipation leading up to today. This is, as we talked about pregame, quite the rivalry, and it's always a lot of fun. And we see some of the players going over to thank the crowd who was here tonight, because even though it wasn't the same size as the homecoming crowd, there still were a lot of kids out here, and it always just makes it more exciting to have some people to play in front of. And I definitely could feel the impact of the fans here tonight, Reagan, and it was just a lot of fun, and the atmosphere was good. And as you mentioned, the band did a nice job trying to spice things up a little bit near the end of this game here. But just a fun game, and I hope that both teams walk out of this, feeling good about this game. And for the Raiders, they have had some very successful games in the last couple of weeks, and I think that they've played Creek better than almost any other team that Creek has played this year so far. So definitely an impressive showing here for the Raiders. We got to see the athleticism that their team has overall, and it's just a lot of fun to watch, Reagan.
Yeah, it is, and one thing we always say with Creek and Regis is it's just such a huge rivalry game. So I was, anticipating a little bit more chippiness, but I definitely liked the maturity and sportsmanship out here tonight from both teams. We could see both teams helping each other up after plays and stuff like that, which is always just nice to see, especially in these rivalry situations. We are going to catch our post-game interview with Ella Davis down on the sidelines, and we'll have that for you live on Twitter later. We'll release that. Thanks for being with us here tonight.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and these are the games that we love to be at, and it's always a great atmosphere here with Creek football. Make sure to join us for coverage next week out at Legacy Stadium as the Bruins take on Cherokee Trail. I believe it is Thursday night again next week. So should be an exciting game. And yeah, it's been great to be with you guys. So for everyone here in the booth, the whole Cherry Creek Sports Network crew, and for Reagan Kanabe, I'm William McDavid, and we're signing off from the Stetler Bowl. Thanks for joining us right here on CCSN.